Hi, everyone. I know we've got some folks trickling in, so we'll just give everyone just about 30 more seconds and then we'll get started. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We're super excited to have Points of Light with us tonight. All right. Again, hi, my name is Kristen. I'm with the Conrad Challenge, and we're so thankful that you're joining us tonight. We are fortunate to have Points of Light here with us tonight. I'd like to welcome Natalie Pequin. She's the President and Chief Executive Officer of Points of Light. She is a visionary and a results-oriented leader with a strong track record of performance and transformation and turnaround and high-paced organizations. She's going to tell you guys all about Points of Light, talk about many different things, and she's also brought 4 of her student ambassadors with her this evening, and I'm amazed by their stories. So I can't wait for you guys to hear all about it. So Natalie, again, thank you so much for joining us, and please take it away.
Well, thank you, Kristen, and thank you to the Conrad Challenge for your partnership with Points of Light. And thank you, of course, to our amazing Points of Light ambassadors. If you think you're impressed, we are inspired. And so we continue to lift up their work and stories as often as we can. So it really is a privilege for me to be joined by them and to be joining you and all of your colleagues. So Points of Light, I'm not sure if many of you have heard of Points of Light or know about Points of Light, but I'm Natalie Pequin. I'm the President and CEO of Points of Light, and we are a global impact organization dedicated to volunteer service and civic engagement. And what we do is we work with individuals, nonprofits, and companies around the world. We're actually in 38 countries to activate citizenship, to inspire, equip, and mobilize people who want to take action and make their communities better. And so tonight, we're going to share a little bit more about you, but we're also going to share some information about the research that we've learned and how it could inspire and impact you. And then I am really looking forward to the conversation with my my colleagues, our ambassadors. So next slide, please. So here's our inspiration wall. And for those of you who have not visited the Points of Light website, I invite you to join us at pointsoflight.org and just, check us out. This Inspiration Honor Roll wall was really established by everyday citizens from around the world who are doing good work in their community. And we said, we want to hear from you. Tell us your stories, share your information with us about what good you're doing in your community. And so as you go on the website, you can click on each story and learn a little bit more about what might be happening in a community near you. And I believe there are over 400 stories on this wall. I think maybe there are 300 stories, but they are so many people who are taking action. And so one of the things that we learned, here's a slide that I just want to share with you. Oh, thanks. Oh, Sharia. I should have known you were on, Sharia. One of Sharia's sister, Isha, is going to be speaking with you later. I see she's already joined us in the chat. But this slide here is really about people who are civically engaged versus the traditional term that we've heard in the past, volunteering. And there's an organization, CNCS, it's now called AmeriCorps. They do a survey every year where they poll the number of Americans who say that they are volunteering. And while we know this is US-centric, it might also be indicative of what's happening in other countries. And what we learned in the United States is that 30% of Americans say that they volunteer, 62% say that they help in other ways, and 90% say that they're civically engaged. And our question was, so what does that mean? What does that mean? How are people civically engaged? We know that the last time we really looked at this data was a couple of years. It was before the pandemic. And there's been a rise in just social engagement around the world, a widening of political divide, increased social isolation, and we're seeing that technology is driving a lot of action, engagements and movements around the world. And so the question for us is, are we witnessing what we believe is a change in our civic culture, where people are the force to be reckoned with, where the power of people is really what is moving our communities forward? We believe we are, and what we've coined this phrase is we said that we are at the dawn of the civic century. And the civic century for us is a century that will be marked by people and their power, where every action matters, no act is too small, and the power of people is really what gets things done. Next slide. So here, we created this framework at Points of Light, and the framework, we call it the Points of Light Civic Circle. And I invite you to take a moment to just look at the Civic Circle. When we learned that people are volunteering, 30% of people identify themselves as volunteers, but over 90% are doing something else. The question is, what are they doing? How are they civically engaged? They're using their purchase power, they're voting, they are choosing their places of work, they're using their voice, they are donating to many causes, some of the causes that our ambassadors are leading. They are listening and learning to each other. And yes, listening and learning about a cause, an issue, is a way to be civically engaged. They are social entrepreneurs, and many people are taking a year off for service. And so for us, we put together this framework, and we have this theory of change where we believe that if you are intentional, and I want you to put yourself in the center of this civic circle for whatever your cause is, if you are intentional with the people who are supporting you, perhaps through donating and encouraging them to use their voice, or if you are intentional to learn more about the political leaders who support the issues that you care about, if you are intentional about leveraging your dollars, even if it's 5%, 2%, 1%, whatever percentage of your dollars or your currency that you use, because I know we have a global audience, in a way that supports your mission, we believe that you will accelerate change and solve some of our toughest problems earlier. So next slide. So this slide is really about you. And I am so inspired by you. And this slide is, I see Nancy, hi Nancy. This slide is, what we did is we took a survey, to validate or refute our theory in the Civic Circle, and surveyed over 1,400 people, and they were from around the country. They were in every generation, from boomers and silent generations to Generation Z, millennials, and Gen X. And we asked them about their civic activities. What you'll see on here, which is where I think is most important, if you look at those yellow dots, you see those yellow dots? Those yellow dots are Gen Zs. And what Gen Z is outpacing in, I think it's 9 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 in most of these, except for the voting, because you weren't old enough to vote, and donated because many of you don't have the currency to donate. But in every other aspect of civic life, you have led in every generation. And so what it's telling us is that Gen Z, thank you, are not accepting the world as we are delivering it to you. You want more, and you are highly engaged in making more happen. And so for us, we're very, very inspired, because Points of Light is really about you. It is about the light in every person. It is about the power of people to do good. And we believe that these points on these lines really represent the light and the light of the future. And so we say thank you. Next slide. I think this is just another way to represent that information, but at the extra point that should be made here is not only did you lead in 7 out of 10 activities, but 67%, so that's nearly 70% of you, 2/3, said that you participated in 3 or more activities, different activities per year. So again, thank you for that. Is there another slide? So this last slide before we open it up, because I know you want to hear from our colleagues and they have so much to share with you, is really about the work that you're doing. I know that over the years, many of you who are participating in the Conrad Challenge, as well as my friends who are a part of the Points of Light family, and those of you who are joining us just as curious supporters of this work. We have this term that we talk about, which is the power of one. And we ask you to apply that, that idea to whatever it is that you're doing. Whatever your mission or your cause is, focus on one element of it, because one element will have many aspects, many aspects of success and many aspects of potential failure, many work streams, but really focus in, double down on one aspect and see where you see what you can achieve over the next year by focusing in on one thing, by asking people to support one particular area and unpeeling that in a most productive way to accomplish your mission. So with that, I am now excited to introduce to you, those are my opening remarks, which will set the stage for this next phase of our conversation. And I'm so excited to introduce you to the Points of Light Youth Advisory Council members. And first we have Sonia Pirani, and Sonia is the CEO of Sonia's Hope for Children, which was founded in 2017 to support local and global children to achieve the basic necessities of food, water, education, and find their voices and more. She's committed to helping children and transform communities one life at a time. Welcome, Sonia. Eleanor Schoenbrunn is a first-year student at Yale and is the founder of Pennies for Fur Pets and Cans for Kids, also with raising more than $56,000 for homeless pets. And she's raised more than $70,000 worth of food and established a sustainable food pantry at an elementary school in El Paso. Welcome, Eleanor. Chloe Thompson, and I asked Chloe, I said, Chloe, I think I saw you on a commercial, and I had to rewind and say, is that Chloe? And she's like, yes, it's me. So Chloe Thompson is an international philanthropist. She founded her global nonprofit, Chloe Cares, which helps young people discover and realize their passions. She started her journeys delivering supplies to the homeless community in Southern California, and she expanded her work to inspiring young women in Ghana and installing water pumps and bathroom facilities. Welcome, Chloe. And our last friend, if you ever want to know what's going on, you have to follow Isha and her sister Sharia Venkat. They are rock stars. Isha Venkat is the co-founder and COO of nonprofit Nest for Us, a platform built upon kindness, generosity, and social good. She spent over 15,000 volunteer hours on projects ranging from feeding the homeless, and tutoring kids worldwide to creating care packages for families in need of support. Thank you all so much for being here, and it's really a pleasure to get started. So as you answer these questions, we'll do a little bit around robin, but I would love for you to share with our audience where you're dialing in from, because we are all over. I am dialing in from Atlanta, Georgia. So questions for each of you. So the first question is the panel, while each of you started as a volunteer, you've evolved to grow your organizations and do so much more. Can you share with us when you realized that your work could be so much bigger? So let's start with Isha.
Awesome. And I'm dialing in from Virginia today, so really close to DC, which is one of our favorite places to visit. And actually, what I'm going to talk about right now is actually we started Nest for Us about 5 years ago, and one of the first after the first few months after we started having these ideas about helping people, I remember we were going to a park in DC actually, and we were just distributing like different sandwich bags and like blessing bags filled with different items to the homeless people living there on the streets. It was something that we do every week. And after we finished giving out these bags, we were heading back to the car when one of the homeless men that we served approached us with like a huge stack of notes in his hand. And actually, side note, we in those sandwich bags and blessing bags that we make, we put in a little note of encouragement in all of those bags that say things like "We love you, stay strong, we care for you, you got this," all sorts of things like that. And we've given them throughout all the bags every time we go to Franklin Square Park in DC. So when the homeless man came up to us, he was holding the stack of notes. We were like, "Oh, what's going on? What is he going to say to us?" And he actually told us that he kept all the notes that we'd handed out to him throughout the years. And like whenever he's having a bad day, like he takes them out and he looks at them, and it always lifts his spirits when he's sad. And we were honestly speechless after hearing that, because we were like, wow, like our work is like really making a difference in someone's life, 1% at a time. And that experience really showed us that it only takes 30 seconds to change someone's entire day, and really showed us that small acts do have a huge impact, and you can really change someone's life forever. And it really like got us thinking, like, why not continue to make this difference in the community, and help as many people, thank you, Trey, and just help as many people as we can. And that question really got us thinking of how to expand and help more people and touch more lives and hearts like that, and just reach that goal of just expanding and making a difference and making a positive impact on a larger scale. So you just wanted to share that little story.
Great. Thanks, Isha. Eleanor.
So I started my first service project when I was 8 years old, and I read in the local newspaper that over 19,000 healthy homeless pets were being killed in my border city just because they didn't have a home. And it kind of hit me that I've been fostering pets since before I could walk and talk with my mom. And it really just hit me that I really wanted to do something. And when I realized maybe if I could give my spare change that I had in my piggy bank, so could everyone around me. And it just turned into pennies for pets. And the first Make a Difference Day that we did was in October of 2011. So I've been grateful to be a part of the Points of Light family now for over a decade, which is crazy. And it's just been a fabulous experience where I had kids in my third grade classroom all the way up to college and high school students helping out, and being a part of the next generation of change makers through my service, as well as through Points of Light and their platform, is something I'm very grateful for, and for my community that has supported me throughout all of this. And I am calling in from New Haven, Connecticut at Yale.
Perfect, thank you. Sonia and then Chloe. Sonia, when did you realize that? Share a little bit about your work, and when did you realize that it could be more?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm dialing in from Minnesota, the Twin Cities area. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad I was able to make it here, and I'm glad you all were able to make it as well. But what really, I've been engaged in charity work, I should say, since I was around 7.5. The idea of charity work has been completely ingrained in me as I was young, and it kind of developed as I grew older, and it kind of became a part of my identity. But I think what really was really the moment that I decided that I was actually making an impact, and I really wanted to make this a long-term goal, was in 2017, when I was debating whether or not I wanted to make Sonia's Hope for Children a 501c3. And I was doing a speaking engagement and talking about the charity work that I've done to see how many more people would be able to get involved. And I came into contact with a man who told me that he had the ability to set up my nonprofit and help me start the 501c3. And that was just a huge opportunity for me. So of course I said yes. And that's really where Sonia's Hope for Children was fully developed. And I have taken in the projects that I've done from a very young age and continuing it up to now. And I'm just very grateful to see the accomplishments that it's created, and the impact that the projects has made throughout the years, since it's definitely developed and grown throughout the years.
Perfect. Thank you. Chloe. I recognize that smile in an instant, Chloe.
Well, hello. I'm dialing in from Southern California. And I think when I realized that my work could be something bigger, was mostly when other people around me wanted to do more to help my cause. And I think starting some young adults and youth noticed that, like, hey, if she can do it, I can too. And a lot of people would say that, like, I made giving look easy, and I did, and I found a way to do community work and make it an easy task that everyone could be a part of.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chloe. So we're going to start back with you. And I spoke a little bit about the Civic Circle, the Points of Light Civic Circle, which has 9 elements: the use your voice, donate, vote, service, social entrepreneur, where you work. I know that you all are familiar with it. Which part of that circle resonates the most with you? And of course, volunteer.
We're starting with me again, right?
Yes, with Chloe,
just
and then
making
we'll
sure.
just go backwards and we'll say Chloe, Sonia, Eleanor, and Aisha.
All right, awesome. I think I really enjoy the Civic Circle because, we all can just relate to each other. Like, we all are community driven and we all are in the same circles, which just make life a little easier. And knowing you have other like-minded youth who have identified their passions and are coming together to not only do what they are planning to do, but also are doing it with other youth.
Great, thank you. Sonia.
I'm not wrong. In the circle, I saw that it said voice, and I think that was really what resonated with me the most. Because not only do we have the power to use our voice to share our beliefs, but it also engages with the other parts of the Civic Circle, like talking about service work or telling people to get civically engaged in general. So I think a voice is one of the hugest things regarding getting civically engaged, because everyone can do it. It's a simple task and it goes a long distance.
Great, thank you. Eleanor.
I love multiple parts of this circle. Voice, service, volunteering. I really resonate with all of them, but I really truly find a passion in social entrepreneurship, where we're able to make our voices heard and amplify them in such a powerful way and in such a public way that everyone can be a part of it in any direction that they want to take it. You can have a passion for anything and turn it into such an amazing idea that can be shared with people through organizations like the Conrad Challenge and through Points of Light, where you really do have that community, like Chloe was saying, of a whole group of kids that are making a difference today for a better tomorrow. And so the Civic Circle is fabulous in so many ways, but I really, really like the social entrepreneurship aspect of it.
Well, thank you. And hopefully, your work at Yale, you will help us take it to the next level and show people the possibilities and the potential of activating in each area, or an area that really resonates with you. Isha.
Yes, I 100% agree with Eleanor. Every single part of the Civic Circle is so amazing, and they all just fit together so seamlessly. And I just love everything about the Civic Circle and Points of Light and everything you guys are doing. So just like there's so many different options to pick from. There's purchase power and using your voice, like Sonia was talking about. There's just amazing ways to just spread positive change in the community. So, but if I really had to choose one, I'd have to say volunteering. It's something that I've been doing since I was young, and it stayed with me for a really long time, just like Sonia was saying. And it's really just been a part of my life for so long. And just being able to help people directly and hands-on and just get involved in the real world out there is really just, for me, the most fun and exciting and easy way to get involved. And also the most rewarding is you can really see the direct impact you're making in the lives of others. And That truly is the best part of service for me, and it's something that I love. So yep, volunteering, it's my choice.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We see that there's a little something for everyone. So this question, I'm asking you to speak directly to our audience and people who are joining us today, because they could be anywhere on, what is this, a Thursday evening or a Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning, depending on where you're calling in from around the world. And so we're so grateful to our friends at the Conrad Challenge for inviting us to share. But if, we have a group of young social entrepreneurs who are looking to solve a problem in their community, what advice would you give them? Let's start with Eleanor.
I think the biggest piece of advice I can give is that the worst that you will ever hear is no. So why not jump for it? Why not jump to how many heights you can? What's the worst that happens? It doesn't work. Okay, try another thing. Try something that gets you excited and gets you motivated, and something that is just so exciting. Like, I'm already talking about it. I'm excited talking about being excited, but it makes a difference when you can join an organization, you can found an organization, you can join student council at your school or community service project that's going on with your family. And any small act of kindness can make a difference in the lives of those around you. So just take a deep breath and take a step and do it for yourself and do it for those around you, because the best thing that can happen is that it works. The worst is that it doesn't, and the worst you'll hear is no. So you try again.
And Sonia, what about you? What advice would you give to our Conrad Challenge audience?
I think a lot of the times we feel held down by possibilities that already exist. Like, we notice other organizations that might be doing what you think is important, like your passion towards charity work. You might see that another organization is already committed towards that, and you're thinking that, oh, well, if they're already doing it in such a grand scale, then what is the impact I'm making? And I think that way of thinking can be shifted into realizing that there is so many people who are in need, which is unfortunate, but that's why we're all here, to get involved and take action. It doesn't matter if you're helping less people than a different organization. It's the fact that you're actually supporting those who aren't able to get those support by other organizations.
Wow, thank you. That's so important. I'm gonna ask Chloe and Isha, they can build on it, but I have a question specifically for you, because your work is international work. Why don't we start with Chloe, and then Isha, if you would just build on it. Both of you, your organizations have done work internationally. I'd love for you to speak about the experience of supporting international work and how you see people in other countries being engaged. So Chloe, if you would start, and if you have advice for our audience, that'd be great as well.
I can start with the advice. My advice is really just to start. I really do think we all are examples of like young people who didn't wait until they were older to get involved or to start something. But when when me and my organization first started, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I wanted to help a woman that was experiencing homelessness. And from there, I just kept getting bigger and bigger. So make a plan, write it out, and execute it, because there is nothing worse than having an idea and just not following through with it. And then when it comes to my international work, so I do a lot of work in Ghana. From teaching leadership workshops, installing water pumps and bathroom facilities, donating school supplies and essential items. And I think supporting international work is also interesting, because on one hand, you want to do so many things to improve the way of life there. But on the other hand, I don't want to impose my Western civilization way of thinking or just doing things. So being engaged and listening to the people that are there is really important. Like, what are their needs? So basic things like clean water and access to quality school supplies, or even better systems like having solar power. So things like that are important, and just connecting with other people around the world who are also interested in those things. It's just really important. Um, and just finding like-minded organizations or individuals who aren't looking to change their culture, but improve the basic needs that we all want, which is access to clean water and good education.
Thank you, Chloe. So insightful. Isha, if you have advice for our attendees, and then if you would speak a little bit about your international work.
Yeah, I totally agree with all the other advice being mentioned. But one other thing I'd like to talk about is just passion. I mean, figuring the most important step, and really the first step, is just figuring out what you're passionate about and what cause really resonates with you and your ideals and your morals and your values and things like that. And just learning about that and researching and taking the time to go out and see different organizations already doing stuff. And you can really learn a lot from other people. So just taking that step to find out more about what you're interested in is definitely an advice that I would give towards people who are interested in getting involved in service. I mean, that's how we started out as well, like searching up different about food waste and hunger and climate change and all of these issues are rising around us, just to get better awareness and then just start spreading awareness of that. And that itself, right, listening and learning is a way to spread that service and that giving back. So that's definitely my advice for that. In terms of my international work, so through Nest for Us, we've actually been able to impact 24 countries and 6 continents, which I know sounds like a lot, but it really just started from one and grew from there. Different things that we do is we provide like workshops and webinars, academic support, literary resources, school supplies, things like that for different groups like orphans, refugees, people like that, in countries all the way from like Nigeria and Vietnam and Bahrain and Australia and all over the place. So it's just been really special to not just like teach the kids like new things, but you're also like learning at the same time, and it's like this whole cultural connection that is just immersed over everybody, and it's really an incredible and eye-opening experience to be able to connect with so many different groups and so many people across the world, and just learn from them, and that's really the most important part. And it's really something that I love a lot, and all of that has been done through a computer screen, which is amazing. It's like just like right now, we're all from all of these different places dialing in, and all through Zoom, right? Technology has been just the way that we've been connecting people with people all across the world. And I'm sure we're all familiar with Zoom. Zoom's been a place where we've connected a lot. And where people have reached out to us after seeing, like, we post a lot of pictures about what we do, and people have reached out like, oh, you guys do this here, like, can you do this to us? So definitely technology has been a huge thing for us. And, you know, even though we're all from different places and backgrounds, we're all, you know, connected to each other by our shared humanity. So it's always amazing to see just the kids being so enthusiastic about service. And it really just like reaffirms the fact that no matter how old you are, where you come from, philanthropy truly has no boundaries and service has no boundaries. So doing international work is always deep in my heart, and I just love everything we do with that.
Wow, yes, philanthropy and service has no boundaries. There's light everywhere, and the Conrad Challenge is about that. So Eleanor, you just started college. How are you finding time to continue your engagement? Because your life has made a big shift. So if you would share a little bit more about the transition.
Of course. So I'm very happy that I had a great foundation in regards to time management and study habits. But when I came here, it was very interesting to see what did work. More importantly, what didn't work, so I could make sure that it did work in the future. Staying involved has been very, very fun and different avenues to take it. There are so many different ways that we can engage on a college campus. I'm just tying into the idea of just being surrounded by so many fantastic people who all have their own story and are willing to share it with you, and from all over the world. It's been really great to connect with them, but also to continue my service with them. I found a really big passion actually for keeping students and alumni involved. And the resources that we can get to recent alumni and how we can connect them to college students today. I'm loving being a part of the Benjamin Franklin College Council for my residential college and staying with the Women's Network and just continuing some of those passions, but also exploring some more and different things that I might like has been fantastic. And I've just been really enjoying this learning process and what I've learned about myself and the people around me throughout like the first 10 weeks of college. So I'm excited for 4 more years like this. It's been fantastic, but I'm loving it.
That's great. And what, part of innovation, sometimes people think that you have to come up with something new, but actually you can take something that and point it in a new direction, and it's a new use. And so you take your passion and point it in a new direction, and that's a little innovative for you as well. Sonia, I have a question for you. Your organization works for basic human rights for all children. Wow, that is a big challenge. Can you just speak a little bit about how you went from such a big concept and you break it down into achievable parts?
Yeah, so Sonia Soap for Children runs 12 to 13 projects a year, so it's not like we're doing 5 projects all at once. It's been organized. So my team and I, we decide every year what issues, depending on basic human rights that are more necessary for people at the moment, that we would like to engage with, like food drives, school supply drives. Every year we run a holiday bag project where we fill bags that were hand sewn by volunteers with school supplies, toys, and books, and deliver them to homeless shelters across Minnesota. But it's our organization is mainly community led. We feel as though we want to make sure that our community is receiving exactly what they need and that they're being heard. So especially when social justice issues came up this in 2020, I should say, like Black Lives Matter, and where people needed more resources, we decided that we wanted to take that in right away and support those. When hurricanes come in, like Hurricane Harvey, we donate diapers, and depending on the need that is there and what would benefit them the most. So being community led, we strive to focus on what our community needs. So thus, it's a large goal with basic necessities of life, but we do like to break it down. Like I said, every month we might engage with something new, unless a community issue comes up, which will right away take into action.
Yeah, that's perfect for all of us to remember, is to be community led, community minded. Chloe raised the point that we don't want to take our culture and change someone else's culture. You really want to listen to the community to support their needs based on how they've articulated them. So I have one more question, and then, if we have a couple of questions from the audience, we're happy to take that one. But the last question we'll ask each of you, and I'll start with Eleanor. And Eleanor, this is the question for all of you. What are the ways you think your generation can challenge the status quo and show that deep engagement is for everyone?
I think that the best way that we can do that is continuing to make connections like this and to continue listening to everyone's stories from everywhere so that everyone is brought to the table in important decisions, so that we can make an impact that is best for everyone and has just been thought through and has brought everyone to the table. And I think an important part of that is being like-minded, in the sense that we do want to get better. We do want to make an impact. We do want to be the leaders in this next generation of change makers. So how are we going to do that is going to be completely up to us. And I think it's going to be a very fun experience to see how it evolves and what social issues and environmental impact that we can make, and make sure that everyone is taken care of to the best of our ability. Just thinking about like the deepest way that we can engage everyone is just by asking someone to take part in it with you. The best way to create this ripple effect is if you make an impact and then you have 3 other people around you make an impact, and then those 3 people find 3 more people to have an impact. Imagine what we can do in such a short amount of time, because we're already here. We're already doing it as Gen Z and the future generations after us. Like, let's lead by example. And that starts immediately with you. That starts with your actions every day, choosing to be kind and choose to live life in a positive light, while making the best impact that you can for those around you.
Thank you. Chloe, what about you? What are ways you think that your generation can challenge the status quo and show that deep engagement is for everyone?
I feel like at the end of the day, one person can make a difference in the world. We all can agree to that, but getting an entire generation on board to make a change will make a bigger impact. Like, I personally can't end homelessness, like, right. Like, I can't end it by myself, right? Like, but together, all of us, we can all do something to move towards ending homelessness, and we are just better as a collective unit. And I think our generation is really making waves to make a bigger impact, and we aren't waiting until we get older to do it.
Yes, Chloe, yes. That. Sonia, because Isha, I'm going to give you the last word here. Sonia, what about you?
What I really love about this generation is that we are so opinionated. We're vocal about it too. It's not that we're just holding these opinions in our heart. And I think being vocal about our opinions is what allows us to take action. But what I think we really need to work on as a generation to try to get help out there for everyone who needs it is to listen to those who may be impoverished or feel as though that they aren't able to support their own community, and listen to what their needs are and what you can do about it. I really think that it's an importance as a young adult to be engaged in our environment. And if we have the ability to support those in need, like I have the privilege of having all the resources I could need: food, shelter, clothes, safety, health, education. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people in this generation and other generations as well who just cannot get access to these resources. So I think once we listen and we realize the privilege that we have, that's when we finally get connected to those who are impoverished and marginalized, and we're able to support them.
Well, thank you. I remember you said you were attracted to voice, and listening and learning is as important. And the one thing that we talk about with people using their voice, it doesn't have to be loud. It could be at the dinner table with your uncle or with your cousin or with a neighbor or with a friend. Using your voice and sharing your opinions can be just as powerful as a broadcast. So Isha, you get the final word here, and we'll open it up and see if we have a couple of questions before we end the evening. What are ways that you think this generation can challenge the status quo and show that deep engagement is for everyone?
Awesome. I definitely agree with everything you just said about using your voice. And I think that is one of the biggest ways that we as Gen Z can spark that deep engagement, is just by highlighting the good that's being done in our community, highlighting the diverse leaders and the change makers who are doing such amazing work as young kids like all of us on this panel today. And I think that's so important, especially now, because when people see other people who look like them, whether it's people of color, people part of the LGBTQIA plus community, people who are students like us, or really anything else that resonates with them, you feel inspired to give back. It's kind of like what Chloe said, they can do it, so can I, right? So that's something I feel like is a huge step in the right direction, is elevating the voices of youth and other marginalized groups who are doing it in the community, because we need so much more positivity in the world, especially now with the digital age. Spreading that good and spreading that positivity on social media and highlighting those different service opportunities and ways we can make a difference in the community is a way that we can turn the status quo around and really make this the dawn of the civic century, and just push forth everything that the Civic Circle stands for. And just one thing that I like to end on is just don't ever believe that you're too young or too old or it's too late to start or you can't make a difference because you can. Everybody has the power to make a difference and can change the world. And it was just so fun being on this panel today with all my amazing Points of Light family. And just thank you so much for this opportunity to Points of Light and the Conrad Challenge. It was amazing to be here tonight. And yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Thank you to the Conrad Challenge, to Kristen and Nancy for your support of just amazing work, getting people involved, solving important community problems, working with the youth, and bringing panels like this of young talent that is actually making it happen and changing our world in real time. So thank you so much for this opportunity to listen and learn from each other and to share. Kristen, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, again, we just thank you, Natalie, and Isha, Eleanor, Chloe, and Sonia. Thank you for your time today, for your inspiring stories. We hope you continue to do great work, and please let us know if we can be of any assistance to you and your efforts. And if anyone has any questions for any of our panelists tonight, feel free to send them to info@conradchallenge.org. We'd be happy to share them with them so that they can answer those questions for you. And we appreciate you joining us this evening and taking your time to, again, listen to this incredible work that's being done. So thank you again, and everyone have a good rest of your day.
Bye. Take care. Thank you.